The office party had started like any other, glittering lights, laughter echoing off the walls, colleagues exchanging forced smiles. Yet from the moment I walked in, I felt the air shift around me, a tension I could almost taste. And there he was, James, smug as ever, the man who had spent months undermining me, mocking my every suggestion, publicly humiliating me during meetings, and now, at this supposedly celebratory event, he thought he could extend that cruelty. The moment our eyes met, his smirk widened, as if he had already prepared a speech to embarrass me, to make everyone laugh at what he assumed was my place in the company. And before I could even exchange pleasantries with a few colleagues, he leaned forward, voice dripping with condescension. "Oh, look who actually showed up. Did you finally get permission to be here?" And the group around him erupted in laughter, each chuckle a dagger, and I felt the familiar sting of past insults, the humiliation of years built up in seconds. Yet beneath that sting, a cold, controlled fire began to burn inside me, because little did he know, everything he thought he understood about me, about my role, about my power, was utterly wrong. He believed I was just an assistant, a background character, someone beneath notice. But the truth was a secret I had nurtured carefully, meticulously, for months. I was the hidden owner of the company, the one who had steered its profits, investments, and strategic decisions while he had paraded arrogance like a crown, thinking himself untouchable, thinking that mocking me would never have consequences, and tonight, his ignorance would become his downfall. I smiled faintly, letting him bask in his imagined dominance, because I knew the sweetness of revenge was proportional to the depth of the insult, and as he continued, pointing at me, making crude jokes about my appearance, my intelligence, my supposed lack of status, I allowed the anticipation to build, allowing the room to absorb his cruelty, letting every word hang in the air like a thread ready to snap. And while he reveled in the applause of his peers, I casually approached the event coordinator, whispering a few precise instructions, unseen and unheard, ensuring that every camera, every display, every moment of tonight was aligned for maximum impact. When the time came, the toast began, glasses clinking with a polite hum of corporate camaraderie, and I raised mine, voice calm, soft, commanding attention as the room fell silent, curiosity sparking in every gaze. "I want to take a moment to thank everyone for their contributions this year." I began, my tone measured, deliberate, almost casual. "And I especially want to acknowledge those who have gone unrecognized, those whose efforts truly built this company from the ground up." And as I spoke, a subtle flicker of light drew eyes to the large screen behind me, where the projector illuminated the company's ownership documents, contracts, signatures, all revealing my name in bold, undeniable letters, and the room collectively gasped, murmurs swelling into shocked chatter, James frozen mid-laugh, his face draining of color, disbelief battling with the humiliation settling in like concrete. I continued, letting the suspense stretch, letting every eye linger on the revelation, watching as the man who had humiliated me in meetings, in hallways, in front of clients, realized that every sneer, every cruel joke, every sarcastic comment had been aimed at someone infinitely more powerful than he could imagine. And the silence that followed was heavy, charged, intoxicating, the kind that precedes irreversible destruction. Then I dropped the next bomb, almost as an aside. For those who don't know, I've been managing company strategy, investments, acquisitions, and overall growth while ensuring that our team had the direction it needed to succeed. And as the murmurs turned to astonished whispers, I pressed play on a video montage, carefully compiled over months, capturing his arrogance, his careless comments, moments where he belittled others, his own words, his own actions, all now looping on the screen for everyone to witness, laughter from his own past echoing against him like a boomerang. And I watched, savoring every fraction of a second, as his smirk dissolved into panic, his confidence crumbling like a sandcastle before the tide. He tried to speak, to deny, to deflect, but his voice faltered, the words caught in his throat, powerless against the weight of undeniable proof, and the room, once his stage, now became his exposure, a live theater of poetic justice, where I was both director and audience, silently observing the man who thought himself untouchable shrink under the realization of how blind his arrogance had made him. I leaned slightly into the microphone, voice dropping, drawing him out further. "And all those times you thought you were clever, mocking and undermining, it turns out you were only demonstrating how unaware, how insecure, and ultimately how replaceable you truly are." And the audience erupted, some clapping in disbelief, others shaking their heads in astonishment, while James, pale and sweating, tried to escape, only to find every exit momentarily blocked by servers, cameras, and colleagues' eyes, all witnessing the unraveling of someone who had underestimated the quiet, calculating power of a person they thought was insignificant. I let it linger, letting the suspense suffocate him, letting every second drag into eternity, as the truth of my control, my authority, my hidden hand, sank in, and when at last I finished, raising my glass one final time, it was not a toast but a declaration, a quiet, victorious acknowledgement of triumph over arrogance. And as he finally stumbled out, head bowed, whispers following him like shadows, I felt a rush of exhilaration, a liberation unlike any other, knowing that tonight was more than revenge. It was transformation, a rewriting of perceptions, a reclamation of dignity, a powerful reminder that those who mock and underestimate often fall hardest. And as the party resumed, laughter cautiously returning, I remained in my place, calm, poised, every eye now recognizing the presence, the authority, the unstoppable force they had so carelessly ignored. And in that precise moment, I understood the ultimate truth. Power wields its strongest blade when concealed, when patience tempers it, and when it strikes, it leaves an imprint no arrogance can ever erase. And tonight, as the lights sparkled and the music swelled, I, the one they had laughed at, walked among them not just recognized, but revered, as the quiet storm that had shattered their assumptions, toppled their hierarchy, and left a mark of unforgettable, breathtaking justice, the kind that would be whispered about, retold, and remembered as the night the office saw the rise of someone they had never truly known, someone who had waited, calculated, and delivered a reckoning no one would ever forget.